I arrived at my mother's birthday gathering, but there was no seat reserved for me. "I don't want you here. Go away," she said coldly, so I revealed the present I had brought and walked out. My mother rushed after me. Wait, I should have expected this. After all the arguments, the financial disputes, and the way my father had cast me aside as if I meant nothing, I still entered that restaurant foolishly, hoping for a different reaction. The instant I stepped inside, I spotted her. My mother seated at the center of the table, laughing carelessly. Beside her, my father looking smug as though he had triumphed in some silent conflict. My sister, cousins, and uncle were all present, pretending everything was perfect. Not one of them had informed me. I discovered the event through a social media post. A caption read, "Happy 50th to the greatest sister," alongside a photo of them at the restaurant. I stared at it for minutes before making a decision. Enough. I was going. I had spent $3,200 on my mother, the same woman who had looked me in the eyes 6 months prior and promised, "Of course I'll repay you, dear. Just let us finish the renovations first." Then she pretended the conversation never happened. The same mother who told my father I was selfish for requesting my money back, who stood silently as he ejected me from her home like an unwelcome nuisance. The same mother I hadn't spoken to since that night. And yet, I still purchased that ring for her. I still selected the most extravagant bouquet I could find, the kind that made the florist's eyes widen at the price. I still drove there, still walked in, still stood before her, waiting for what? Recognition? An apology? A shred of kindness? Instead, she glared at me as if I were a pest on her birthday cake. "What are you doing here?" she snapped. I blinked. "I came to celebrate." "I don't want you here. Leave." The table fell silent. Forks froze mid-air. My uncle averted his gaze. My sister shifted uncomfortably. I laughed because what else could I do? "Are you serious? Why did you come?" she demanded. "To humiliate me? To cause drama?" "Humiliate you?" I replied. "Mom, I came to honor your birthday." She shook her head, dismissing me. "Number, you came because you can't stand not being the focus. You ruin everything, Daniel. You don't belong here." A tightness gripped my chest, but I didn't let it show. "Right. But if I'd brought a gift, you'd have let me stay, wouldn't you?" She scoffed. "As if you even considered getting me one. You're stingy, Daniel. You always have been." For a moment, I felt detached from my own body. Without another word, I turned and left. I went straight to my car, opened the trunk, and retrieved the bag. The small box inside felt unnaturally heavy. I marched back inside and held it up. "You're right," I said. "I didn't bring you a gift. Just this $2,400 white gold ring with a diamond. The one you constantly nagged Dad about. The one you swore someone else would give you if he didn't." Her face paled. "And the $800 bouquet is in my car," I added. "But you don't deserve any of it." I turned to leave. "Wait!" Her chair screeched as she hurried after me, but I was already in the car. I slammed the door, started the engine, and drove off, watching her shrink in the rearview mirror. That should have been the end, but it was only the beginning. For the next hour, I ignored my phone. No music, no calls, just the hum of the engine and the occasional buzz from my bag. I wasn't interested in hearing my mother's excuses. I ended up at a gas station on the town's outskirts, gripping the steering wheel, replaying the scene, her disdain, my family's silence. Then my phone rang. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. A text followed. "Daniel, please answer." I ignored it. Another. "Come back. Let's talk." I scoffed. Now she wanted to talk? After publicly shaming me? Then a text from my sister, Emma. "Mom's hysterical. She won't stop crying. Just talk to her." Crying? That wasn't like her. She discarded people when they were no longer useful, just as she'd done to me when I asked for my money. Now she cared? I tossed my phone aside and drove home. I grabbed the bouquet and threw it in the dumpster. The ring? I left it on the kitchen counter. I thought it was over, but at 10:47 p.m., a knock startled me. I checked the peephole. "Mom." I hesitated, then opened the door. There she stood, makeup smeared, eyes red. "You left," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that what you wanted?" She trembled. "Can I come in?" I should have refused, but against my judgment, I stepped aside. She entered slowly, eyeing my apartment, her first visit since I'd moved in. Her gaze landed on the velvet box. "You really bought it?" "Of course," I said. "I planned it weeks ago. I wasn't even going to come tonight, but when I saw the post, when I realized you'd excluded me, I thought, why not? Clearly, that was a mistake." She looked down. "I don't know why I said those things." I laughed dryly. "Yes, you do." She closed her eyes. I was angry, embarrassed. "I didn't think you'd show up." "Why? Because you never invited me?" She winced. "I didn't think you'd want to come after what happened with Dad." "That didn't stop you from inviting everyone else." Silence. Then softly she whispered, "I want to fix this." I studied her. "Why now?" Her voice broke. "Because I can't lose you." I wanted to believe her, but I'd been fooled before. My phone buzzed. A message from Emma. "Daniel, Dad just found out Mom left. He's furious." Before I could react, pounding erupted at the door. Mom's eyes widened. "Don't open it." I knew who it was. Another bang. Then my father's slurred roar. "Daniel, open this door, now!" I had seconds to decide. Mom clutched my arm. "Please," she begged. The knob rattled. "He's drunk," she whispered. "At the restaurant, he lost it when he realized I was gone. Emma said he yelled that I was chasing my ungrateful son." I stared at her. "Which is exactly what you were doing." She nodded. Bang! He slammed something against the door. "You think you can steal my wife, Daniel?" he snarled. "You worthless little—" I unlocked my phone. "If he doesn't leave, I'm calling the police." Mom stiffened. "No, don't." "Then what? Let him break in?" Suddenly, the noise stopped. I peered through the peephole. He was gone. Then I spotted movement near my car. I rushed to the window. Dad was approaching my car with a tire iron. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered, grabbing my keys. Mom grabbed my wrist. "Don't go out there. He's destroying my car." I pulled free and yanked the door open. By the time I reached the parking lot, Dad had already swung. The tire iron smashed my windshield, spiderwebbing the glass. "Hey!" I shouted. He turned, panting, face red with rage. "You think you're better than me? Get away from my car," I warned. "Or what?" He stepped closer. "You'll call the cops?" "Go ahead." I clenched my jaw. "I don't want to fight you." He laughed, a sound that chilled me. "That's your problem, Daniel. You've always been weak. That's why you're just standing there." He raised the tire iron again. I didn't hesitate. I lunged and grabbed his wrist. We struggled until a scream cut through the night. "Stop!" Mom ran toward us, frantic. "Enough!" Dad faltered. I wrenched the tire iron from his grip and threw it aside. "Leave! Now!" He staggered back, spat at my feet and hissed, "You're dead to me!" Then he vanished into the darkness. Mom wiped her tears. I didn't think he'd actually—" I cut her off. "You knew exactly what he'd do. You've always known." I returned to my apartment, exhausted. Mom stood in the living room, hugging herself. "I didn't think he'd go this far," she whispered. "Then why warn me not to open the door?" She had no answer. Later, my phone buzzed. Emma. "Daniel, where's Mom? Dad said if she's not home in 10 minutes, he'll make her regret it." I looked at Mom. "He's coming back." She trembled. "I'm not going back." "Good. Stay here tonight. But if you return to him after this, I'm done." She nodded, but I wasn't sure I believed her. The night ended with an uneasy truce. Dad's rage, Mom's fragile defiance, and my exhaustion. This wasn't over. But for the first time, change felt possible. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.